a limited liability company gives you liability protection, gets you access to an EIN, which gets you access to a US business bank account. So all of a sudden your decline rates go down, you have more social proof and credibility with customers, it unlocks access to US credit, US suppliers, US social proof and credibility, and even just the credibility of going from freelancer to I'm a professional. That mentality actually sometimes is the biggest benefit to your business, that internal confidence and change. So we are more focused on those LLCs, but beyond LLCs, we don't form an LLC and then throw you to the wolves with a checklist of things to do. Cash-based accounting. Go do your taxes, Form 5472. Make sure to file your sales tax registration when you hit economic nexus. We build it in. So with DOOLA, your bookkeeping's there, your taxes are there, and any other question or tool you have, we'll partner with companies and integrate so that you can get your insurance, you can file a trademark. And the goal is there's this business in a box so that your back office is taken care of. We also do focus on e-commerce and we support global founders. So really a couple things here. A lot of companies when we started wouldn't support you unless you had a US social. We took that a bit personally. My family's from India originally. We immigrated from England to Boston when I was young, and there's one misconception, let's break this now. You can, as an international founder, start a US business. You also can get a business bank account without flying to the US, and a lot of people don't realize that. So support founders globally, and e-commerce is huge. Most businesses now, especially post-COVID, have to be digital online, and when most people are starting an e-com business, the question is, do I go to Shopify or do I go to Amazon? And oftentimes you go multi-platform. So our goal is it's this business in a box for e-commerce. We serve founders globally, and instead of just here's the LLC and here's the checklist, it's here's the done-for-you solution. Your taxes are done for you, your bookkeeping's done for you, so you can focus on what you do best and enjoy doing, unless you enjoy doing bookkeeping and tax, but I haven't met many people who do, which is actually building the product, marketing the product, and growing the actual business.
So work with US and non-US residents and also help them open their bank accounts, get all the numbers in place in order to operate in the US. So once they've done that, do they need to pay taxes in the US?
It depends. Let's do a crash course here. A lawyer often tells you 11 things you shouldn't do. I'll give the one rec. Now, obligatory disclaimer, I'm not a CPA, but I joke in my next life I might be reincarnated as one because I've talked to so many CPAs and we've helped lots of founders. Here's the way the decision tree works. If you live in the US, you're physically based here. You have a US tax filing obligation. As an LLC, it's actually a disregarded entity, meaning taxes are passed through. So you don't actually, taxes flow through, and then on your personal tax return, your 1040, that's when you pay taxes. There's also a self-employment tax rate. If you're an international founder, the key acronym and word to know is effectively connected income. So that's the first thing. If you have effectively connected income with the US, that then creates a US tax filing obligation. The easiest way I would think about if you have that or not is physical. Do you have a physical presence there? Are you physically based there? Do you have physical full-time employees there? Do you have a physical warehouse, not a third-party warehouse, your own physical warehouse? If you have those things, you likely have a physical presence that then creates a actual tax filing obligation. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is different countries have different tax treaties with the US, but if you do not have effectively connected income, and you live in a country with, let's call it a standard tax treaty with the US, then you actually only have an informational tax filing requirement, which for a single member non-US LLC is called Form 5472 with a pro forma 1120. You can ignore those numbers or those acronyms. The point here is that it's informational. It's effectively saying to the US government, here's my business. And if you don't file that form, there is a $25,000 fine. So it's important to file it. But a lot of people think, oh, the second I start a US company, there's a US tax filing obligation. Not entirely the case. Now, the other thing I'll say here is that we have CPAs and licensed tax professionals on our team. That's why I feel comfortable saying this. But you can always talk to one of our CPAs. We offer free demos. And that's one of the huge value props of DOOLA is you're not just going on a Reddit thread figuring out, is this what I should do? No, you're getting licensed tax professional advice. And that's why we've been able to serve over 15,000 founders from over 175 countries to help these non-US founders and international founders go global from day one.
Yeah, I mean, I paid a lot of money for tax advice in the past when I was selling a company in the US to a US buyer, whether we had tax nexus there. And yeah, having someone on staff who can guide you and also know what the government is doing, because I know a lot of people in e-com used to have non-US founders had US LLCs. Then the government started questioning things a lot more if they had a lot of stock in that country, and they moved to C corps. And now I don't know what's going on now. I'm kind of out of the loop of what people are doing, whether it's C corps and then management companies offshore invoicing C corps for management fees. Not that anyone would ever avoid taxes. what happens after you form the company? So like you go into your service, we form the company. What happens then on the process?
First step is the LLC, formed with the state. Timeline depends on the state. Wyoming's pretty fast. Other states might take up to 1 to 2 weeks. Once you have the LLC back, you get your articles of organization or your certificate of incorporation. That's the document that says, here's your LLC. After that, you typically will get or apply for your EIN. That's your employee identification number. Think of that as the social security number for your business. You have to send a form called Form SS4 to the IRS. If you are a US citizen with a social, you can apply online, get that within a day. We do that for you. If you're a non-US founder, unfortunately, we're going to have flying cars soon. Humanoid robots are here, but you still have to fax a form to the IRS, which takes 4 to 8 weeks. And it's because the IRS is the IRS still. So not on DOOLA, that's fully dependent on the IRS. That timeline takes time. But you fax this form. Once you get that back, you can then apply for your US business bank account. We have partners. We're directly integrated into DOOLA's dashboard. One click, pre-fill, can submit. The bank then runs a process called KYC or Know Your Customer. That typically takes a few days, and then boom, you've got your US business bank account. From there, that's when you can go set up your Stripe payment processor or Shopify payments, or go through Amazon, set up your Amazon account, and connect it for payouts to this business bank account. Then from there, you're revenue ready. So I think of it as actually the journey being -1 to 0 is the idea and the courage to actually start. That's up here. Once you're at 0, though, before you go 0 to 1, let's call 1 making your first sale, you have to go 0 to 0.1, which is getting revenue ready. So getting your account set up, your storefront set up, etc. Then you got to go 0.1 to 1, which is actually making that first sale. And that's where we're actually trying to play more and more is, hey, we'll get you to revenue ready fast, but we want to be the fastest way to go from formation to first sale, and providing that education of, cool, you're revenue ready. What are some of the best practices, and learn from folks like yourself on, whether it's Amazon or other places, how do I actually make that first sale and build a scalable, enduring business?
Cool. So from your target customer, the way you're speaking sounds like a lot of the people you work with are like first-time business starters, first-time business owners. Is that fair?
Yes, many folks just starting, or in that 0 to 100K range. So we're not working with the Gymsharks or the Kylie Jenner Cosmetics. Nothing against, I mean, fantastic businesses, but the truth is, I've looked at some of these numbers.
Bookkeeping is not that level yet. You're not doing 100 containers a day.
Correct. But if you look at the numbers, and I've looked at this for Shopify's and Amazons of the world, 90% plus of those businesses are doing 0 to 100K. That is most of the world. So that's who we are trying to serve, that long tail. There's many folks out there. And then the other thing we've learned is that there's nothing wrong with having a business that does 1K or 5K or 10K a month. That's life-changing. That's huge. Imagine having that on the side. That's vacations. That's car payments. That's could be financial freedom. So a lot of people think, oh, it has to be the next Facebook. It's got to be a unicorn. I hard disagree there. I think once you make that first dollar online, it opens up your world, your eyes in a huge way. And we want to serve that long tail of people who are going after their dream. 0 to 100K per month is massive. Most people don't even start. So that's my pitch for, hey, you shouldn't, it's not unicorn or $1 billion or bust. It can be a $1,000 a month or bust, and that's a huge accomplishment.
Well, I mean, most of our listeners will have something running. So is it possible for them to transfer their already operating LLC to you, and do you have any kind of demo and people to help with that?
Absolutely. We've talked a lot about getting revenue ready. If you have a business running, a lot of people say, wait a second, you're telling me in one place I actually can have my bookkeeping, my taxes, all of this done, state filings too, so business level, federal filings, and state level. We even have sales tax consultants through partnerships. Yes, you can migrate your business to DOOLA. We then take over your registered agent. We handle with the bookkeeping and tax. And really the main goal here is that you can create a free account, you can do a demo with our team, but the main goal is I don't want to deal with any of that. And that's a lot of founders feel. So if you are listening and have a business and you're like, wait a second, not only am I paying a lot for this, we charge $329 per month or $3K per year. So oftentimes through tech, you can do things faster, but also reduce costs, which means you can pass on those cost savings, which is what we try to do. You also can bundle. You don't need to have 4 points of contact. You have one doula. So if you're listening and saying, hey, wait, I have 4 people I talk to and I'm paying a lot, you can schedule a free demo and see if we're a fit. But that's the goal, is that we can actually save you time and money and just peace of mind, because instead of going to 4 people, you can go to 1 person instead.
Very cool. And then for the bookkeeping, I mean, this is a more technical question, but for the bookkeeping, do does it have to be? Does it only stuff that's plugged in, or do you have some kind of portal to upload all documents, all this other stuff? Because it's pretty clean if you're doing like one revenue source, but if you're doing a bunch of stuff, bookkeeping just turns into an absolute mess.
We use a tool called Plaid, which has integrations with over 10,000 different financial institutions, banks, credit cards, platforms. We have direct integrations with Shopify and Amazon, Google Ads. So you can actually directly connect. If there's anything manual too, you can share that with our team and we can manually upload as well. So the goal is, you're totally right. Biggest mistake most people make is actually they don't connect everything from day one. And you avoid so many issues if you simply set up a business bank account to separate personal from business, and then have some bookkeeping tool set up so that your transactions are at least in one place. You do those two things, you're 99% ahead of entrepreneurs. You are. If you just do those two simple things, even if you're not looking at your numbers. Although I would say that's very important because you can ultimately only manage what you measure.
No, I would agree. It was great. I'm just looking at your pricing right now. Looks very fair. So if someone actually likes what they're hearing about now, what's the best way for them to actually explore that?
DOOLA.com. That's DOOLA.com. Click Get Started. You can go through, schedule a demo. You can even go through, start a free trial for our bookkeeping solution as well. And we very much encourage. There's no trick. You might be wondering, hey, do I have to pay for a demo? No, you can actually just come and talk to our team. And the reason why we do this, because there's entrepreneurs listening, we know we offer value and we stand behind that. So there's no bait and hook or bait and switch here. We know if we talk to you and we have a lot of value, you're probably going to be interested, and we can reflect that value on that call too. So head to DOOLA.com, click that Get Started button. You can schedule a free demo. You can email our team if you want. We have chat too, but we're happy to answer any questions.